You picture a filthy Viking, matted dreads, mud, never a bath. You've got it backwards. These were the best-groomed people in the Christian West, cleaner than the English who feared them, and an English monk hated them for it. The dreadlocked, dirt-caked Viking is fiction. The real Norseman carried a comb everywhere. That matted, wild-haired look is a screen aesthetic. The History Channel's Vikings sold it to us. No archaeology backs it. No reliable written source either. The braids and dreads were a costume choice for the camera. Real dreadlocks long predate the Vikings, but the Norse aren't the source. It's a modern invention. The actual record points the other way. Combs turn up in graves everywhere. Eyewitnesses describe daily combing. Hollywood made him filthy. Here's the proof in their own calendar. Old Norse named one day after washing, laugardagr, bath day. Laug, hot water, plus dagr, day. Most weekdays were named for their own gods. Tyr, Odin, Thor, Frigg. Not this one. This day they named after the bath itself, and it never left the language. Luardar, laugardagr. 1,000 years on, Scandinavians still call it wash day. A whole day. Named bath. Here's the honest catch. The word proves the custom existed, but a word is custom, not census. It doesn't count who actually scrubbed. Washing surely varied by region, class and era. A peasant likely bathed less than a chief. A turf farm in winter was no hot spring. We can't put a number on how often anyone washed. Still, a day named for washing beats no day at all. Named it. Mostly meant it. Dig up a Viking grave and odds are you'll find a comb. Combs of antler and bone are among the most common finds from the Viking Age. They went into graves with men and women, rich and poor alike. The National Museum of Denmark ranks them among the period's most common objects. York's Stephen Ashby wrote a whole book on the comb. He argues the comb was tied to identity, not just tidiness. Not literally every grave, survival is uneven. But among the most common still says a lot. They were buried combed. The Viking comb was not a throwaway. It was a composite tool, machined like a tiny instrument. Thin tooth plates riveted between two side plates. The rivets were bronze, sometimes iron. Cutting each tooth by hand took real skill, and hours. Archaeologist Stephen Ashby calls them massively over-engineered, and forget the cheap horn comb. These were overwhelmingly carved from antler, not horn. Men carried them on the body, in cases with belt loops. Worn next to the knife and pouch, daily carry kit. Mostly in men's burials, though graves never tell the whole story. Over-engineered for hair, and the combs hide a trade story. Collagen testing of 49 combs from HDB got a wild result. 44 of the 49, 90%, were reindeer antler. But reindeer didn't live anywhere near HDB. The antler came down from the Arctic North. It fits the northern trade the trader O.H.T. Herré later described to King Alfred. That's large-scale trade by around 800 AD, not crude, not local. Some combs even carry runes. A Lincoln case reads, "Thor Fast made a good comb. A maker signing his work, proud of it. Hair care imported." Vikings carried a full grooming kit on a ring. It held an ear spoon, tweezers, and a pick. The ear spoon scooped out wax. They wore these tools at the chest or waist. Tweezers plucked stray hairs. The pick cleaned nails. At Birka, one ear spoon was gilded silver, so grooming gear could be a status object, not just a tool. Graves also turned up razors and washing bowls. Some sets even hung from a single decorated ring, not filthy raiders. They cleaned their ears. Vikings likely made a lye soap from wood ash and tallow. Leach the ash, add fat, and the lye runs harsh. That harshness helped kill head lice. The Rus men? Ibn Fadlan saw beards bleached saffron yellow around 921. The strong soap is the likely culprit, stripping colour as it cleaned. The beard part is firm, the head part is inference. Vanity or vermin will never fully know. Saffron beards, soap bleached. Iceland's Vikings soaked in geothermal heat. The sagas point to natural hot pools. At Reykholt sits Snorri, a stone-lined hot spring. It's named for the writer Snorri Sturluson, who lived there. The word bathstofa, a steam bathroom, meant water on heated stones. But honest caveat, this evidence is late 12th century texts. That's slightly after the Viking Age. So all Vikings had saunas is partly a stretch. The steam case is strongest for Iceland. Steam, mostly in Iceland. A styled beard wasn't grooming. It was a billboard. The carved male head from the O.O.Se-bag ship burial, around 834, wears a deliberately styled moustache and beard. Bynames prove form mattered. Sweyn Forkbeard. Harold Fairhair. You earned a nickname from your hair, and it stuck for life. Carvings confirm styling existed and mattered. The exact waxing techniques? We're inferring those. One small wooden face survives the centuries. Your beard was your name. Hair is organic, so it almost never survives in the ground. So hairstyle reconstruction leans on a few stylized carvings, not photographs. One Old English letter helps. Aelfric scolds Brother Edward for a Danish fashion. He means a bared neck, hair swept forward over the eyes. We call it the reverse mullet, a modern nickname. It's real evidence but narrow, and the English copied the look even while sneering at it. Essentially, one source and no securely identified image shows that exact cut. We'll never fully know. Our best-known witness called them disgusting. Ibn Fadlan, an Arab envoy on the Volga around 921, named the Rus the filthiest of God's creatures. But read the next line. He watched them wash face, hands and hair every single morning. A servant carried the basin, a comb dipped through their hair, but each man blew his nose and spat into that same bowl. His disgust was the shared basin, reused water-broke Islamic ablution. That's one outsider's account of a Scando-Slavic trading crew. We'll never fully know their daily routine. But filthy wasn't about dirt. Filthy? He watched them wash. One myth dies hardest, the horns. No horned helmet has ever turned up in a Viking Age grave. The only near-complete one is Jarmundbu. It's a smooth dome with a spectacle eye guard, nothing sticking out. The horns came from Carl Emil Duepler. He designed them for the costumes of Wagner's 1876 opera, The Ring. The image stuck so hard we still believe it today. And the giant thing? Also off. Viking men ran around 170 to 176 centimetres, barely taller than the Anglo-Saxons mocking them. The real edge was grooming, not size. No horns, just clean. Years later, an English chronicle wrote them down. A St. Albans chronicle, traditionally tied to a John of Wallingford, griped that the Danes combed daily, bathed every Saturday, changed their clothes. He meant it as a complaint, not a compliment. His verdict? They seduced English wives and noblemen's daughters. Honest catch, it was compiled around the 1250s, some 250 years late. Editors rated it unreliable. So read it as reputation, not proof. But the point holds. Not the filthy Viking. The men you pictured as filthy got written down as too clean, too handsome. You'll never see a dirty Viking the same way. They outgroomed their enemies,